Coach Andy Reid for just a second. Let's talk about the coaching staff you guys have put together, and what it's like to be a coach in that system.
First of all, being a former Giants coach for 14 years, going against Andy Reid in the NFC East. When I was first hired by Kansas City, knowing that I was going to coach with Andy Reid, it shocked me at first. And for 2 years, I kid you not, for 2 years, walking down the hall, going on the practice field, going into meetings, and looking at Andy Reid, it bothered me. Because for so long, I was trying to beat this man.
Yeah, he was the enemy. He was the enemy.
And now all of a sudden, this man is actually, my boss. And so with that being said, Andy Reid allows you as a player, as a coach, to grow your personality in whatever it is. So this is what I mean by that. I talk to my players all the time, and if you would just throw up your hands like it's a field goal post, I tell my players, and this was taught to me by Andy Reid, you are free to be as creative as you want to within these boundaries.
Right.
Now, once you go outside the boundaries, only thing I'm going to do is just tap you back in and say, no, that's not the way we do it.
Right.
I'm not going to belittle you. I'm not going to degrade you in the media. I'm not going to bring you in and punish you. But I'm going to just let you know that's not the way we do things. So Andy Reid and the way he goes about his business is he's like a big teddy bear. And so with that being said, it's a beautiful thing to just be around that type of culture, whereas you're not fearful of making a mistake. You're actually going and being creative and doing the things you need to do to be who you need to be.
Wow, that's a great segue to, we were talking earlier this morning about coaching up when we talk about Rick Pitino. But how hard is it, the challenge to coach up NFL players making all kinds of money? They're pros, to get them to really pay attention and listen.
Yeah, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. We've heard that statement before. And so the players, when you get into the room, and myself, and when I stand in front of these young men, I'm standing in front of them as a professor. These guys are multimillionaires sitting in my classroom, and they have to be there. It's not like you can skip class.
Right.
You have to show up every day in order to get paid. If not, you're going to have a $75,000 fine. All right? So they're going to show up instead of getting fined.
Wow.
So
I'm going to school.
So coaching these guys up and trying to help them become who they want to become, every player want to know, if as you as a coach, can you help me achieve my goal? That's where the selfishness comes into play. If you can help me to get to point A to point B and help me achieve my goals, I'm going to listen to you. Not only that, make sure that you come with a little credibility. All right, did you play? What have you done?
Right.
Because players read.
Yeah.
And they Google you.
Right.
And they want to know if what you're selling is what they need to buy. And free agents know this. And so when they're coming into our buildings and they want to play, oh, man, I want to play for you, coach. No, you want to play with Pat Mahomes. That's who you really want to play with. But your pedigree, your background, and what you've done means something. So when you're coaching these guys up and you're trying to help them become who they need and want to become, and for their entire family and bloodline to be blessed through that, because these are generational blessings.
That's right.
The finances that these guys are getting, when you go get your degree, graduate from NC State, UNC, Duke, and let me just see how you do your first year with your salary.
Right.
Where versus coming into the NFL and your rookie salary, your minimum is $650,000 or $700,000.
Right.
It's going to take you a couple of years before you can make that kind of money.
Yes.
So these young men, and the percentages like Doc was saying earlier, is 1% of the guys that play in the NFL. Sure. My friend Craig Keefe, Bucky Brooks, and I from Raleigh have experienced it. Yeah. It's been a beautiful thing, and other players have. But to teach these guys and to help them stay, it's easy to get married. It's harder to stay married. So anybody can go to the altar. But you know what? Can you stay married? It's easy to come into the NFL in the sense that you wanted the 1%, where we know that's not easy. But you get drafted, but can you stay in the NFL?
Wow.
And how do you do that? You need somebody to
That's
help
an
you out.
interesting segue to my question. I think we talked to Coach Dave Merritt, the world champion Kansas City Chiefs, unbelievable run, back-to-back champions. Speaking of getting married, they're not married, but how did you guys handle this whole relationship with Kelce and Swift? Because it was equally or even overshadowing Patrick Mahomes and great offense, great defense, great team. Talk about how did you guys handle it, and did it affect you guys at all?
So not to take away from what it is that we're trying to do here, because it is a sports show and not Swift show. But I will say this about Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
I told my daughter Drea, I said, I'm going to introduce you to Taylor Swift one day, and she said, "Really, Dad?" I said, "Yes." So when she started to come around, it was privately. She was coming into the stadiums without people really knowing until the camera put, the big spotlight on her. But upon meeting her, I felt like she actually added to what it was that we were trying to do, because there were so many people that were hating the fact that she was being showed on TV.
Right.
That, you know what? You're part of our family because you're now with Travis. So therefore, you're our little sister, or you're whatever it may be. You're part of family. So what happened was she actually affected the team in a positive way.
Okay.
All right? It wasn't a negative way. It was everybody was excited that Travis was happy. So when my brother is happy beside me, that helps me and that encourages me. And so Travis came in there a different man. A different man. So she helped us.
So it's real.
And as a matter of fact,
love it.
I would hate to say this in front of Pam, but Pam
Lord.
is a Cowboy fan. She actually, in her first year, won a Super Bowl, and Dak has been with the Cowboys how many years? She won her Super Bowl in her first year in the NFL. How about that?
Got you.
Very nice. Very nice, Coach. Very nice.
Hey, show me what a lie is. That's the truth.
I can't say that.
You better be careful, Jerry. Gonna try to steal her. Jerry gonna be like
part of the administration over there.
Jerry
Front office.
Jerry said, "You see this screen right here? You can be all on this screen."
My screen's bigger than their screen.
My screen's bigger than
You gotta find somebody for the date. I'm trying to work on who's single.
Anything they got. Well, that's pretty good though. Cause that's interesting that you say he had been coming around before. So that's pretty. So let's talk about some of the fallout from the Super Bowl. So Steve Wilks, we know Steve Wilks, Coach Steve Wilks, by the way. Coach Steve Wilks has been on. I think he's been on the show.
He's been on the show.
Yeah,
we
been on the show.
We hosted an event that he was guest speaker. Yeah,
that he had in Durham. We had in Durham before, and after the Super Bowl loss, they decided to part ways with Coach Steve Wilks, the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, and we were all puzzled by it. We were all thinking to ourselves, okay, now how did the defense get to be the Paul guy? what's really going on here? Talk about what it's like coaching in the NFL and like things like Steve Wilks coming in behind the Miko Ryans and having to pick that up.
Let me amend that question a little bit and caveat what he said. They were saying that he changed everything and they didn't like the players. Yeah. Was complaining about his style. So talk about that.
Wilks and I go back a long time, over 20 years, and so played against each other in college. He was at App State. I was at NC State. But Steve Wilks, I worked for him when he was with the Cardinals, all right, back in 2018. And when you look at what happened, there was something obviously festering before the Super Bowl, because I say that, and I say that because the worst thing that could have happened to the 49ers, and I hate this for the 49er fans out there to say this, the worst thing that could have happened to the 49ers is for them to have won that. And then Shanahan would have been forced to keep him if the players are disgruntled and the things that they were going through. So, therefore, Wilks, even himself, is looking at this as a blessing. You know what? I understand you guys want to go in a different direction, but if you want to base it clearly off of just the game, that's not the case, and we all know that. There's always something behind a marriage if it's not going well. It doesn't just happen overnight. Right. So, but if you want to talk about the game, their offense went 3 for 12 on third down.
Oops.
Our offense went 9 for 19, but if your offense is going 3 for 12 on third down, is that Wilks' fault? If your tight end, who's all pro, Kittle, only has one catch for 4 yards, is that Wilks' fault?
Right, no.
I mean, so therefore you can feed McCaffrey all you want to. He needs help. And then number 11, who was trying to fight all game, Aiko, whatever. I don't know. He only had 40-something yards. Was that Wilkes' fault? So I just say that there was something going on before. This all went down.
Oh man, that's pretty good.
I like that.
Say here. I know we're getting up against it, but I said this before. The best athlete in the household is not this dude here. It's a guy named Dawson.
Right.
And I think literally every hour of the day, I think he's getting offers from all these big time colleges. Talk about your son, who's a phenomenal player and probably has an unbelievable future.
Yeah, I've said this from day one. This kid came from Mars or somewhere. So Gaga, Sandra Smith Hopkins would say that all the time when he was young because he knew things that just no kid should know. So Dawson, who's shy of 6'4", 6037, 6035, whatever it is. So we do heights in like 603, whatever maybe. We don't just say 6'3", 6'4". Okay. So we do combine heights. He's about 215 now. He decided not to play basketball. Mom and Dad were upset because we wanted him to play basketball because he was a basketball player who became a football player.
Kind of like his
myself.
dad.
About like his dad.
Yeah.
So Dawson turns around, and he's an unbelievable academic student, going to graduate in December and try to enter college early. And I'm sitting here saying, why are you doing that? But here nor there, athletically, the kids he has scholarships from Washington Huskies to Boston College to Florida State to USC and everything in between.
And Alabama, by the way.
And Alabama and Ole Miss, Eli Manning, you know. And so, but I'm just amazed at his growth, and I'm proud of him, but I'm more proud of the person that he is. He goes to Fight Club every week, which is a Christian organization that he tries to help other young men who may be going through certain things. And so his character is what I'm more proud about than football.
That's awesome, man.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So, Coach Lastly, before we got to get out of here, we have to run. But your time in Kansas City, you've been so successful. You had an amazing career. Talk about what you want to accomplish next, and what and where you're going, and as far as this journey for you.
Good question.
My ultimate goal is to one day become a defensive coordinator. I've never wanted to become a head coach ever, and my wife can back me up on that. And I've been blessed to be going on my 28th year involved in pro sports. And so, but my ultimate goal is to become a coordinator, run my own defense. I promised my wife 20-something years ago that I will not pursue that dream until my kids were out of the house. Where just last year, Yolanda said, well, Dawson and Drea are getting to that point, baby, that they're about to leave. If you go and something happens in the next year or two, just know that I'm going to stay here with the kids in Kansas until they graduate from high school and go ahead on and pursue your goal.
I can see
move on.
I can see that. So I can definitely see that. That's going to be an easy one for you because I can see that as your next step out.
Yeah, I was going to say it. I mean, that's a stressful job. You pull your hair out, but I see.
He's all right.
Congratulations on all the success, Coach. We're so proud of you.
Thank you, brother.
Just as we always are of everybody that's doing big things, man. You do a wonderful job. And I love the way that you always look for people of color, young men of color, HBCUs and other places.
Good job.
And you find great talent. Thank you so much.
Every afternoon.